let's ask about interracial marriage and like make everyone say they don't agree with it. Obama's a Muslim, right? Like, let's make sure that we get the South on record saying that.
Here's what we're buzzing about at News Beast. We've got Southern polls showing disturbing things among the GOP, Afghanistan pullout calls, and David Cameron and Barack Obama meeting in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. But first, we noticed we've got some Southerners on the panel today.
Yeehaw.
So Allison, yeehaw, so you're going to defend the integrity of the South because these polls sure aren't helping.
I mean,
This is bad. This is like, let's confirm the stereotype.
Seriously, I think that's what the polls were trying to do. They were really saying, let's ask about interracial marriage and like make everyone say they don't agree with it. And let's ask about, Obama's a Muslim, right? Like, let's make sure that we get the South on record saying that.
Well, hold on. Before we play the victim card too hard, I mean, but the polls.
You set me up for that.
I know, but the polls showed that, I mean, I think a majority thought he was Muslim, a minority, a plurality don't know, and a small, I think, 15% said he was a Christian.
Let's see how they vote. I'm curious to see how they vote in those states.
Me too,
today.
but I don't think that's going to be on the ballot. I mean, are you saying it's just the way they asked the question, or
I think it's the
reflective of a
questions
problem?
that they ask. They didn't ask a whole lot of questions that really sort of related to the issues that I think typically matter in this campaign. They asked a lot of gotcha questions in that poll.
I'm with you. Mississippi defended. I think it was pandering to stereotypes.
Your home state.
Yes.
But,
yes.
but put Mississippi aside. What about the Alabama poll results?
What about that? I mean, obviously,
Alabama.
It's true about Alabama.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Obviously. No question.
We've seen too many polls of this sort, though, and even if it's a gotcha, it's not entirely irrelevant. It's a gut check that they're still.
I think so. So who's polling to win in Alabama today? That's what I'm curious about.
See, what's up with Newt, like, successfully casting himself as the
It's
Southerner?
interesting. I think he's going to do pretty well in Mississippi, too. My family said they were debating voting for Ron Paul, Newt. They're going to go with Ron Paul, obviously. But,
I know. Good to hear
but I
that
think
name
Newt's
again,
gonna
right?
get a lot
It's
of
back,
support.
Ron Paul.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, look, Newt's going for the triple Lazarus. If he can pull a win, I think he's back in it. Fascinating to me that Santorum doesn't seem to be able to get the evangelicals, in that deep South rallying around him.
And we were talking earlier. I mean, it's difficult to see if the South will vote for a Mormon. I think they're still a little skeeved out.
Well, and he's doing awfully well in the polls. You do have country club conservatives down there.
Well, I think that the Republicans who don't vote for Romney in the primary will come out for him in full force when he's on the ballot eventually. But for now, I think that it's just up in the air.
No, we get another one that's too close to call. Let's pivot to Afghanistan. We've got this horrific tragedy of shootings, sort of has echoes of My Lai. You worked in the State Department, covered the area. What's your read on all this right now?
At this point, it just shows the failure of our strategy in Afghanistan, and it pains me to say that, but Obama embraced this war as the good war, the one, he campaigned that he was going to turn it around. He surged 90,000 troops, but there's been nothing backing it up diplomatically, and our relations are actually worse with Afghanistan and Pakistan now. And I don't think you can have troops over there if you're not all in, and we aren't all in, so we need to start getting out.
Are we really suffering, though, from the sort of the frequent and the repeated deployments? I mean, some of these men and women have been over there, just and over there and over there and over there.
Definitely, and I think that, it's a failure of counterinsurgency, too. It was, we thought what we did in Iraq could be easily transferred to Afghanistan, and it really wasn't the case.
Not the same place.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about, we've got the special relationship getting all specially in Washington again. David Cameron coming to the U.S. Fascinating dynamics just generally, right? I mean, he's sort of carrying on that Tony Blair humanitarian interventionist move, making noises about in this week's Newsweek about Syria. On the cover. Hi, I'm Dave. And about, perhaps humanitarian intervention in Syria, Somalia. Not only do they have sort of a fascinating generational dynamic, and they're not as divided as their parties might suggest, I think, in terms of their outlook in the world. But boy, I can't help but think the Republican Party could learn a hell of a lot from David Cameron.
Well, right now, I mean, the Republicans could be more forceful in Syria, I think, but they're in a tough spot because we have so many resources in Afghanistan. So what do you do when we really might not necessarily have the aircraft we need to do some kind of humanitarian?
And David Cameron seems to be stepping in and doing what, British PMs have done for years and years and years.
Well,
and sort of,
since Tony Blair.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but also just sort of convincing, American presidents that we, maybe we could help out a little bit in Syria. Maybe we could do something there. So we'll see if he can convince our president.
The lofty language and how he talks about it, I can really appreciate, and I wish that we could get a little bit more of that sometimes from Obama, because you can't always necessarily intervene everywhere, but I do think that American presidents always
More
should be on
lofty
the side
language
of
for
conscience.
Obama? That's the solution?
No, more
I think that
Right.
no,
More
but I mean
eye
standing
contact.
like it's very important to stand for an American
right.
president to add. We can't necessarily intervene, but we need to be on the right side of history.
I think that's exactly right. But before we go prematurely, final word, Allison.
Avalama,
Alabama.
Alabama.
Alabama ding dong.
Yes.
I like that. Okay,
I'll
go.
follow your theme and let's say grits in honor of Mitt Romney in Mississippi.
Cheese grits.
I'm going to go Pennsyltucky because it's what's next. That's all for us at Newsbeast. We'll see you tomorrow.
What does that mean?
Pennsyltucky?
sound sexual.
Pennsyltucky?
Yeah.
Really? Pennsyltucky sounds like